Hello and welcome to Insight on YouTube at RGG TV and on Facebook at RGG News and on all our social media platforms. We are proudly Ghanaian with a rich history and vibrant present. From pre-colonial kingdoms to post-independence struggles and achievements, our history has shaped our culture and society. Today, we'll have an interesting sit down and drink deep from the well of one who is a repository of our history. He is lawyer Yaw Anokye, and he is my guest on Insight today. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Ghana, the name was, can I say, borrowed from the ancient Ghana kingdom. How did that come about? And how has it impacted on us as a present and modern day Ghana?
Well, I will start by referring the attention of everybody to the fact that when we mention Ghana, we are not alone as an entity or a country using that name. In fact, Ghana, I would say people like us, and then the Arabs, the Berbers, refer to the empire as Ghana. But the Latino countries such as Spain, Portugal, and then the French would refer to Ghana as Guinea. So as we speak here, we can talk about 5 countries using the name Ghana. Like our own country, Ghana, we talk about Equatorial Guinea, we talk about Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry, and then Papua New Guinea.
So
far off. So that should tell you that 11th century empire or kingdom was so great, such influence reverberated everywhere, so that wherever they found black people who were united, who were great, who were dealing in gold, they gave them the name Ghana. Because we are told that in the ancient period, in the area or region now occupied by Guinea, Senegal, Mali, to some extent southern part of Niger, a portion of Mauritania, Burkina Faso, and I've mentioned Mali. Mm-hmm. That was the area the empire occupied, and that's the Western Sudan. And it arose because of a very rich and influencing trade in gold and salt, and then the taxation on these 2 items that gave rise to the Soninke people forming the empire. We are told that there was a very small, very, very minute people that was just a fraction of the kingdom who appeared to be of matrilineal inheritance, who appeared to sacrifice human beings to accompany their dead kings, whose kings were always richly dressed in gold, and whose women had ears pierced and adorned with gold. So taking all these factors into consideration, and the fact that the people were animist, so that the capital, was divided into 2, part for the Muslims and part for the animist people. Historians like Dubois, Dankwa and others, and even later people like Nkrumah, believed that these were the Akans who would form part of the Mali Empire upon the fall of Ghana Empire, and who would migrate downwards to the area later to be called the Techiman area. And so when the people settled there, they were Bono people. In the Akan language, Bono means firstborn. But because of the nature of migration of the Akan groups, they splitted and then had different names. For example, the Fanti people, who broke away from the Bono, we say Fatso. So they had the name Fanti.
Oh, that's the meaning.
Fatso.
Nah,
That's why you have a Kumfi here, and then you have a Kumfi also in Bono. Okay. And then the Adanse, they were the technocrats among the Akan. So we call them Adansifour, builders. And then we have the Asen people who are trying to say that where we are now is better than where we were. Baby, I want a saying, baby, I want. And then the Denchira people stayed in Chira for so long a time that when they were coming downwards, they said, Madane Chira for. So their name became Denchira. And then Doma or Doman, and a certainty because of war, let's come together. Okay. But at the same time, let's go to the fact that ancient Ghana could include people like the Gans. And that would also mean we had a direct association with ancient Egypt, where the Jews were. Because you read the Bible and you come across the word shekel, which reflects in some of Jesus Christ's parables. Shekel in the Bible, in the New Testament. Currency. Like currency. The Akan say sika, and the Gan say shika. Great. And they mean the same thing. So that shows at least a little about our association with the ancient Ghana Empire. Even the Ewes also say Sika. I know an Ewe friend called Sika Kwenye here. And I asked her, is Sika your language? She said, yes, a very ancient word for gold.
Lawyer, from all that you've discussed, it means that those who chose the name Ghana for the then Gold Coast really knew a lot about ancient Ghana, and they knew also that there were elements, should I call them tribes, from ancient Ghana who migrated southwards to where we are now. Could you say that really influenced their choice of the name Ghana?
Definitely it would, because in the Akan language, we refer to Mali as Krochiamai, the land of the leopard. The land of the leopard. And that of Ghana as Jata. You see from Senegal, Guinea, and those other places, see their names, Diara. Yeah. It's because of the French. That makes it Diara. Actually, it's Jata. Wow. So we have a connection with them. And so we getting the name Gold Coast, which was a more modern name coming from the Europeans who came to loot. You know, it became a name that would always spite us if we should carry it to independence. No wonder that Kwame Nkrumah in Cape Coast in 1948,
way before independence,
about 9 years before independence, and named it Ghana National College. And then 9 years later, when we had our independence, the name became Ghana. So for them, it was not new. For them, they knew that Ghana was connected to African history, to black history, a very proud past.
Now with these, we learn from history, don't we?
It is from history.
We learn. And so what are some of the significant lessons you think we can incorporate into our modern Ghana for development? Because we are talking about a superpower of ancient times.
Yes.
Ancient Ghana. Because if its influence stretches as far as Papua New Guinea, then it means it was a superpower.
Yes, certainly. So in very simple language, we need to come together and build our country, because all the resources that made ancient Ghana a great country are available in this country. Ghana has got more gold than the former Gold Coast. Now we've discovered lithium, we've discovered oil and gas, and then we have the human capital, something that we can boast of more than so many countries on the continent, is the fact that the ethnic groups are interrelated. You go to the Ewe area, and then you see that they have Akan names. Many of them have got Akan names. The Gans have Akan influence. If you come across the Gan names, Ankara. Ankara is what? Is that not Chi name? Nikwajo Ababio is a Ga, is Akan from the Akwamu area. So you see that we are just one people. We call the Nzemes from GBC. I learned the son Nzema Kotoko, and then Ashantis also call themselves Kotoko. The Gombas call themselves Kotoko. You understand? And we know for sure Ashantis have at all material times had the Ewes as their war allies. And Ashanti Empire was established because of the Akwamu people who taught them warfare. So if you want to read the history of the country, you appreciate the fact that we are just one people.
Now, do you think we have preserved our culture enough? Because you see, it seems to some of us that Christianity has, in one way or the other, diluted our culture, right? Because it's like our heritage at the time became like a fetish, and so people do not go close. People were proud of their so-called Christian names than their traditional names. Now, do you think those things that identify us, and I mean our traditional practices, rituals, art forms, that makes us Ghanaians have suffered over the years?
I think so, to a very large extent. But I would think that Christianity, and for that matter, religion, has only shaped our culture. Because...
Can you explain?
Yeah, I would explain. For us, the Akans, Northerners were not doing that. Gans were not doing that. Ewes were not doing that. But the Akans believed that anytime a king or a great chief died, he had to be accompanied by a lot of people. And the greater you were, the more those to be killed.
The more heads.
Yes, to accompany you. And that should tell you that, let's say if the Asantehene died, if the Ochenyene died, you could think of about 50 people, if not more, to be sacrificed. Christianity and Islam would be against it. So for us to be able to eschew human sacrifice was a very big plus. It shaped our religion. To another extent, I would say that Christianity has destroyed some of our institutions, because nobody has seen God before, whether it's black, white, or green. But for Christianity to tell us that they believe in ghosts, they believe in, that is ancestral worship, they believe in the smaller gods, are all evil, and you needed to believe in only one God, I believe doesn't help.
I side with you, because you see, our traditional priests, whenever they are pouring libation, they mention God first.
Please, they mention the name of the Almighty God. And when the Gans mention Atana Nyomo, and then the Ewe say Mau, and the Akan say Onyame, you should know that they were not taught us by the Europeans. So before their advent to our place, we knew God. We knew God. And then also, we knew that if you offended someone, the punishment would be severe. That was the reason why many, some time passed, you left your money here, a piece of gold. Yeah, you will go and come back and meet it there. Because we felt that anything that belonged to you must not be appropriated by you. But today, the Bible tells us that if you sin 70 times, 7 times a day, there is a God somewhere who would forgive you and write it off. So that today, excuse my language, somebody may be married with a ring, 2 or 3 rings on the finger, and still do anything they like. And I don't mean women alone, including men. In those days, nobody would dream of that, even though they didn't have anything on their fingers to show they had married.
I agree with you. As early, I would say late, because as early as 1970, when I was growing up in Ada, my great-grandfather had a very large coconut plantation. And there, if dry coconut drops,
Yeah.
nobody touches it.
Okay.
Nobody. But now people
We climb it and take what is up there so that it will not even be dry.
I agree with
Yeah.
you. I agree with you. That,
And then some of our institutions too have actually been preserved. We talk about the child naming ceremony
Great.
of all the ethnic groups.
Great.
You know,
Sure.
because even when it comes to marriage, you know that they do the wedding all right. Now they call the traditional part engagement. Traditional, where you pay the knocking fee, a second, the mother receives what she's supposed to get, the father receives everything. So to some extent, the tradition is installed. But whether you like it or not, it will have to undergo metamorphosis. And the installation and distillment of chiefs are still intact.
those ones are intact. Those ones are intact. But then our way of life has so much been influenced by outside
Cultures, yeah.
cultures, you know, and so we are doing a lot of things differently from our forefathers now.
But you know the reason?
No.
You see, when you and I were young in schools, on Fridays, that's days for culture. And all such days, you know that those were the days largely we did history, art and craft. Those were the days we did the performances.
Drumming.